Hi, I don't think this video needs a trigger warning, but I'm going to give it to you anyways. If you can't handle your own emotions or you're triggered by certain topics, this video is probably not for you. Hi, my name's Elaine and I am a nurse here in the state of Kansas. We are in midterm election season and I wanted to discuss what the everyday American can do to get involved in local politics. So this video is predominantly going to focus on the two biggest known parties. However, there are other political parties out there. There is the Libertarian Party, and then there's the Green Party, and then there's the Socialist Party. But that one's a little skewed nowadays because, yeah. So we're going to talk about the Republicans and we're going to talk about the Democrats. So the Republicans are at the GOP.com, and Democrats are at democratsplural.org. So what you go to do to get involved in your local politics is you go to those websites, depending on which one you want. If you're wanting to go with another party, you just type that into Google and you can find their page. And they'll have the page for your state, and then they'll have pages for events, groups, campaigns and stuff like that. And so that's a good way to get involved in that. That's how I got involved in my local politics. So we're going to talk about what local politics look like. So we have our big government or federal government, right? Well, according to whitehouse.gov, according with the U.S. Constitution, the U.S. Constitution mandates that states need to uphold a Republican form of government. Now, what does that mean? Well, I'm going to have a lot of people who disagree with me on this, but we do not live in a democracy. We have democratic processes, yes, but we do not actually live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. So what does that mean? Well, according to Merriam-Webster, a republic is a government having a chief of staff that is not a monarch, so not a king, and in who, in modern day times, is usually a president. A government in which supreme power resides in a body of citizens entitled to vote and is exercised by elected officers and representatives responsible to them and governing according to law. So that means that we elect our officials, but our officials have to follow our laws. So a lot of times that's usually the Constitution and whatever we want to be part of our political laws. Okay. So, a big important part of this is that your constitution on your state level has to uphold your constitution on the federal level as well. So our local governments have the same three branches. But big important thing, local government must be granted power by the state. So the state says what a government official can do. Okay? So we have our legislative branch, our executive branch, and our judicial branch, which is just like our big government, our federal government, right? So your legislative branch is where you have elected representatives who rule on issues brought forth by the governor or other members, and they control state budgets, tax legislation, and impeachment. They also control whether or not laws get put into place. So with the impeachment, you can impeach your representatives, you can impeach your governors, you can impeach your attorney general, you can impeach your speaker of the house, just like on a federal level. You can impeach all of those people there, which you can do here on a local level. So the legislative branch makes laws, okay? So then you have the executive branch, which is usually your governor, your attorney general, secretary of state, your commissioners, your auditors. They are elected and they uphold the law. The governor can present a new legislation to the legislative branch, but they cannot make the laws themselves. They have to execute the laws. So legislative branch makes the laws, executive branch executes the laws, right? So then you have your judicial branch, which is like your Supreme Court of the state, just like we have a Supreme Court of our federal government. And they correct errors of the lower courts, so the judicial and the legislative branch, and they uphold the Constitution and make sure that the laws are constitutional. Big important thing. Your laws need to be constitutional. If they are taking away your rights on your state level or on your federal level, you need to make your politicians and your local and federal level representatives and senators and everybody, you need to make them aware that their laws are infringing upon your rights. Very important. You don't want your rights taken away. Like, no, bad idea. So, what can you, the everyday American citizen, do to get involved in local politics? Well, like I said, you go to those websites, right? And they have events, they have campaigns, they have really important issues that these parties specifically care about. So you can go to political events. They have picnics all the time, all kinds of other, there's rallies. You can go to a board meeting. So there's like a city meeting. I went to my school board meeting. I kind of made a scene there, but it did work because I had really constructive conversations afterwards. And I've done some research, and I'll probably go to another school board meeting. And then you can join a campaign. So if you feel really strongly for a piece of legislation that's going to be up for a vote, or you feel really strongly for a political candidate that you really, really like, you can go and join their campaign. You can be a poll worker. That one's kind of cool. You go and work at the polling place where people go and cast their votes, right? And you ask for their ID, you make sure that they're legitimate. If not, there's a whole process for absentee ballots and stuff like that. You can donate. Everybody thinks you have to donate a lot of money. You actually don't. $5, $10, I mean, even $1 helps get a sign out there for some of these candidates. You can run for office. I know that sounds super crazy, but all of these politicians on a local and a federal level are everyday people. I've met every single one of my candidates at some of my meetings, and it's so heartwarming because they're just like you and I. A lot of these political groups will go and give you classes so that you can learn how to run for office and what you need to know that's super important for running for office. So it's really cool. So each state has different rules for local government. So you have to look at what your state requires for each branch that you're trying to go into, and as well as what you're exactly trying to do. But you can find all that online at your local political group website. And all of this is super easy. And hey, maybe, watching this video, you get really, really excited and you decide to go and run for office, and I might see your name and I might vote for you. Because, like I said, politicians are everyday people just like you, and that could change everything.